mineral water. Send me come you and I say asna non do casebo ya de ebe somo na sama ya de bremono de dimutinti mine bi ne say
Mampani John Dramani Mahama Ashebo se Kumasi KJTR Central Market no next year nkona wiye de na ban asie wi
na pro board akopie me Kumasi ne enei wakodan ni o mapapa wahehya ma Asantema se obeye ama mpuntuo atimi afa ne toma pefra e wa Asantema ntemu
Edom kuma e womra hye bibwamu enne wan sentrofo nhyiemu akasa etia atutra samoa edano koso e wa Blackmanov
so afọ no enene ohwe enyinam nsem e de abetudwa se ECG e yade se aban esiesie amana be yie na emom enye se omo eton
Obsafo we eka ensama hodo a yesi nkonya ye de besom se kasebo enkomodie eka ho ebi akenkanfo ye me David Ofori Safo menumia
Kwame Owusu Ediomi
Aveyebo era ensem no emo Ghana Mampani His Excellency John Dramani Mahama menokase akopiemo ewa Asantema ntama hinkro Kumasi emu ni nyina ne se ugusua eda Ghana fo ase se afe 2024 general elections no Ghana fo etu no bum bum edema no ene NDC amanyuku no na eno na Mampani ni Ghana de share wo Asantema ntem edi nkomo no wo se edwa kese a ewo KJTR mekire Kumasi KJTR Central Market no NDC aban ena ehya ase na ma ya ma edu mpempensu bi wa hya de hye wa Asantema ntambo se next year 2026 enko na wie ni de na edwa kese no wo masi bibia awie
Jumedia mekasa wa ase no 2 o'clock ya ene ebeye enti na emre kakra ewo ho ena we se ene mamintu anamon na membehwe KJTR phase 2 bebia ejuma na edru na mini contractor for no enkasa mini omokasa enso omode ejuma na edru echire ejuma na edru 66% completion enti ye be shemukina tene be ya ombetimi awie ne ntem na contractor for no many omokasa ye no say se bibia akoyie ebedru afie eba ebedru na wie ye no na chese edwa no ye wie kra na wonhwe sa edwa no na wo de ka we ho a nipa dodo a ombenya bebi atena edi omudwa no ebedu baya 20,000 nipa ene benya enti ya ma memo eni ye nuama no ana omudi dwa wo ho a ye yi omu free ho se ye besi phase 2 no ya chiro mu nyina di fefefe enti ye wie se dwa na omo ene de ombekwa akotena ho first ansana yaje ebim so abeka ho tunwani jack ka ho techiman ka ho mankesin ka ho enti baka kire mayor say ontro emma vice president say vice president na first adwumedie na so na onfa crofro market emfa nka ho ebi say de ka ho a ebema kwan aba se na be aye maame mo ne enu amane na apese mu didwa no obi abenya bebi atena na omo afi kwan chen se na sese a yetimi hu no enti ade a nyame adom ye besom
ata place de be ya dwumen ya papa ta nyame fa ni crazy ebi ho bi aba ho biem ye ye 24 ya de aba ho ne ye kasa ho obi amua ye eti nyame ya be ma ni wura ma de ya wamba asante nyambo asante e mai bo afo ye wura sa tutu bo afo ye wura na hi ma bo afo e bi ya na hi ma dia ye sa wo sa wo no anya behu eni me ni ya be ya ma ye na kwa se ye wura eni na hi ma eni asante mani na waba tuwa na Asantema ye urise uni nipa nyamye yu ababetu ya kwa Asantema
Ghana man penny nam to aboso wa santemantemu na ode to omanim se na dwempo ene ne botae se obeboa ama santemantem etimi afa ne to apefra enu nti impuntudwuma obetimi aye de omaye gya ho ene de ono ankasa ebeye no obeye ni nyina ansa no afiri so de beye a ene obekọ asantemantem na impuntudwuma etimi aboa ma santeman etimi afa ne to apefra.
Under the big push, we are going to commence the construction of what we call the Greater Kumasi Bypass. The first quadrant of this bypass will go through Ejiso and link the Mampong and Techiman roads. It means that all the big articulated trucks that are heading to Burkina Faso and Mali will no longer come through Kumasi city. They will turn right at Ejiso and appear on the Techiman Road. This will help decongest the city. It will promote safer travel and restore Kumasi's urban integrity. We also have earmarked the reconstruction of roads in the Tepa area, in the Manso area, and in the Adanse areas. In the aviation sector, the contract has been awarded and the contractor is mobilizing to site for the extension of the runway of the Prempeh International Airport. This will allow larger aircrafts to land and enhance Kumasi's global connectivity with the rest of the world, making it a gateway for international travel, investment, and tourism. In addition, the long-awaited Accra-Kumasi Expressway is on course. Feasibility and design work are in progress, and God willing, we shall cut the sod early next year for the start of this iconic project. Don't confuse the Accra-Kumasi Expressway with the Accra-Kumasi Road Dualization Project. They are two separate ones. The expressway is a completely different expressway. It is 3 lanes on each side, and it's going to cut the traveling distance from Accra to Kumasi by 50 kilometers. The new expressway will enhance logistical movements and strengthen national integration. The expressway will have rest stops, it will have filling stations, and it will have all the facilities for safe travel between Accra and Kumasi. We will toll the expressway, and so the money that is generated will go to pay for the cost of constructing the expressway.
Na yademo eko edom kuma ewo mrase bidwamu woma nsentofo nhyiamu akasatia edano fiada basabasa isiye etutwa sama ekoso ewo Ablekuma North abato a esan koso biem na Madam Abena Kokko Asante mrase bidwani de made hyewo Atiwa West wona ejina edom kuma nanemu ekasae.
The targeting of journalists during the Ablekuma North parliamentary rerun represents a particularly grave assault on press freedom. A Joy News reporter was physically assaulted, while GH1 TV journalist Ajekum Banahin was attacked by a police officer at the Church of Pentecost, North Odoko Polling Station 2. These attacks on media practitioners are fundamentally incompatible with democratic governance. Press freedom is a cornerstone of Ghana's democracy. The most disturbing aspect of the Ablekuma North violence is not just the brutality itself, but the deliberate endorsement and celebration of these attacks by senior government officials. For example, Dr. Hannah Bissou, Louisa Bissou, national women's organizer of the NDC, and CEO of the Minerals Development Fund, provided perhaps the most damaging response with her statement that violence begets violence, quote, end quote, and her suggestion that the brutal attacks were somehow justified. Even more shocking is the Facebook post by Malik Basintali, Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Employment Agency and Deputy National Communications Officer of the NDC, who apparently celebrated the man who attacked Honorable Mavis Hawakumsun with a disturbing declaration, and I quote, "From today, I name him the Flying Python. He shall be in charge of the 5K Air Force," end quote. This grotesque celebration of violence against a former member of parliament represents a new low in Ghana's political discourse. Both officials hold senior positions in President Mahama's government, and their inflammatory rhetoric actively undermines Ghana's democratic institutions. Their words embolden further lawlessness and signal to potential perpetrators that violence will be excused, justified, and even celebrated by the governing party. The Minority Caucus demands the following actions: the immediate dismissal of violence-endorsing officials. President Mahama must immediately dismiss Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisu from her position as CEO of the Minerals Development Fund and Malik Basintali from his role as acting CEO of the Youth Employment Agency. Their celebration and justification of violence against opposition figures disqualifies them from holding any public office. This dismissal must happen to demonstrate that the government does not condone political violence. All individuals involved in the Ablekuma violence must be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The police must provide daily updates on their investigation and arrest. There can be no impunity for those who attack our democratic process. The Ghana Police Service must conduct a thorough investigation into their security failures, including the alleged role of Chief Superintendent Lumor Frederick Sunanu. Any officers found to be complicit in the Ablekuma North violence must face immediate dismissal and criminal prosecution. President Mahama must publicly condemn the Ablekuma North violence and personally apologize to Honorable Mavis Hawakumsun, Nanekwe Friye, and all the victims of the violent attacks. His statement must be unequivocal and without any qualification or justification for the violence.
So afọ no ene hwe enyinam yira John Jinapo ono nso na ye mrahye bidwani a ogina homa yape kusaw ene wakasa se amanfo bi keka se ECG aban na adwen se obeton nanso oseda bi no kura bia ni sansem nim na emom aban hwe asese ECG se de be ya betimi agina no mantimi asom Ghana fo osompa.
Under the instructions of His Excellency the President, I have been directed to review the cash waterfall mechanism allocation to increase efficiency, transparency, and equity in its operations. We are making some additional savings, and we want to ensure that those savings are applied in a judicious and efficient manner to bring about overall efficiency in the sector. I'm happy to note that as a result of these policy interventions, ECG's monthly revenues is witnessing some significant increase. This increase represents about 47.3% increment as compared to same period last year. And so as you can see, we're seeing some real significant increase in revenues, but because of the huge challenges and the debt that we encountered, we need to pursue additional policy measures to ensure that we put the power sector on an even keel. We are also working very hard to increase rural electrification. So far, we've connected 63 communities, and we are launching a massive rural electrification project to ensure that we achieve universal access to electricity by the end of 2028. To ensure that we increase the revenues and also bring about efficiency, Cabinet has approved the private sector participation in ECG's distribution network. And let me put on record, we are not selling ECG. What we are seeking to do is to involve the private sector, particularly in the billing and collection sector. And I encourage Ghanaians to take a keen interest in this. We have good Ghanaian entrepreneurs, good Ghanaian businessmen. This is an opportunity for you. Get involved and help us to bring about improvement in the sector.
Munye nimsem dada se anese fon kabomuko edebetu dwa se nei esa musika sembi a aban ahwe na ontimi enka mo mutino omotwentwen omadwuma ase na omo enko adwuma aban ene omotena ase esi ginaye na nei atadwe yatede na esanse ensama aban ni omokan ne entrankunwesi aban ni omusie ni nyina asempa afrima abanti anes for ede abetu dwa se omo suspension omo strike omo bibia ema omo etwetwe omo dwuma esenye no ene omo twani nyina mu esanse aban ene omo atena se aka ensempa ego omasom.
Last 2 items out of the initial 4 items which had been tabled as priority at the 12 June 2025 meeting, namely the 8% non-basic allowance and the fuel allowance, were discussed. After extensive deliberations, it was agreed that 1. On the 8% non-basic allowance, which was intended to appreciate the market premium of nurses and midwives upwards, the employer was emphatic that there were serious distortions which has affected the market premium of nurses and midwives, and that they will take urgent steps to rectify same. 2. Fuel allowance will be paid to those who are entitled to it at government-approved rates and not at the rate of 10.99 or the ex-pump rate as contained in our collective agreement. 3. All other items as contained in the Appendix B of the collective agreement are to be costed and included in the 2026 national budget.
So for bedane ho age aboafo nkrato e ba David Oforisafo ene panjifo betena se na obone nkomo twetwe ato amuso na se da bia me ye no David ene nkomo mo de e fa he
nkomo ne mienu the Chief Justice Gertrude Isabatu Kono
on the Ghana
ECOWAS court yeah
on just say $10 million
say omani eguna ni mu ase say eguna ni mu ase ma kana busuafo so ko wiase ba bia eboni dimbone ana MPP esiam some be from top to bottom approach
for kasem
ebi se emwa eno ho nkomo so
na mode former president ko for the no be ka ho
ni nyina ka ho
na chese na nkomo no mu ohwam
yeah
na mami $10 million say ECOWAS court ebuti aga na ebenya ama ne de
$10 million
aye Ebusa for we dey sama hold on David Oforisafo ene abedwafo betena se na obede nkomo twetwe afam de bia meka se Ghana nkomo ade a ehia ye esanse oman ekekere amanyo ene ye se de be a ye man betimi atumpo mesro ye twa ho sima enko ba bia ye ba David ne mpanifo betena se na obede nkomo twetwe no ato amoso